Okay, this one, you are wrong. You are wrong. Fourth Wing. If you're like, oh my god, it's a sellout, blah, blah, blah. The comments he was getting were just unhinged. Hello, welcome to another video. My name is Carrie. Thanks for being here. We're gonna be messy today, I guess. I don't know. Looking at what you guys submitted, I feel like I have a very polite community, but we're going to be anonymously sharing our unpopular book opinions. If you ever want to submit for these, I usually do them on Instagram. I get your responses for a lot of different videos. But yeah, I figured I hadn't done one of these in a year. People's opinions change, you know? I wanted to know how you guys were thinking. What do you consider to be unpopular, etc. So that's what we're going to dive into today. Honestly, a lot of you guys have the same unpopular opinions. A lot of you guys are tired of the same things. A lot of you are thinking of expanding your horizons. You don't really know how in terms of getting out of certain genres that just seem to be recycling the same plotline over and over again. And so before we dive into your unpopular opinions, I would like to give a shout out to someone I think could help you on this quest, which is the sponsor of this video, which is MasterClass. MasterClass is the platform that hosts classes by, I think they hit over 200 expert instructors in various fields. So usually like arts and entertainment, it could be business. I know about it because a few years ago, I bought my dad a membership so that he could take an astronaut class. Really, whatever your interest, you can find a lot of things in there. But I think specifically in the context of this video, I really want to highlight their amazing classes by so many different authors. Specifically, I really like Billy Collins. I feel like that was just a poet that was so easy to access for me when I was like growing up and trying to get into poetry. So he has a wonderful class on there that is literally just how to read and write poetry. N.K. Jemisin has a class on world building and writing. Joyce Carol Oates, Amy Tan, David Sedaris, just truly the wealth of knowledge on MasterClass is incredible. If you're interested in writing, if you're interested in learning how to read certain genres more deeply, it's incredible. But also, I know a lot of you guys are writers. If you want to learn how to market yourself, how to create a brand, how to tell a story, there's so much in the kind of entrepreneur area of MasterClass as well. I will have a QR code and a link down below, and usually MasterClass is $10 a month billed annually. So definitely check out my discount codes everywhere. Go check it out. Go read some Billy Collins while you're at it. Now let me pull up. Okay. Because this is anonymous, I ended up just kind of scrolling through and writing them down, so I don't have anybody's names linked to them. Some of these are going to be a mixture because, like I said, a lot of you guys had the same opinions. So if you don't hear yours word for word, I squashed a lot of them together. We're gonna start off with one that I made a short or a reel or whatever about earlier because I had just noticed this trend, I suppose, specifically in fantasy, and the unpopular opinion was basically keep a series separate. I don't want to read a series in a certain order to understand or not spoil things. I was talking about this because I recently read Forging Silver into Stars, right? Yeah, the first 2 books of that series. And I knew the author, and so I kind of just I knew it was like the genre I like and an author I have already enjoyed her work of, so I didn't look into it. I just dove in, got it at the library, and there I was. And I swiftly realized it was a continuation of her other series, A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which I haven't read for years, and my memory, even if I had read it like the previous month, I would have been lost. I feel like if you had read Forging Silver into Stars knowing nothing, not knowing that you were missing any details, I think you could be fine. Like, I had some people comment that they didn't even know and they had a good time with it. But for me, I knew enough to know that I didn't know anything. Like all of these character names, it was so frustrating that I knew them, but I didn't remember their story from the previous series. So it really kind of negatively impacted my reading experience. But then earlier this year, I was so excited to read Air because it's a continuation of An Ember in the Ashes. So it just kind of, for me, depends on if I love the series or not. But yeah, I've been really noticing that it's sort of like how we're seeing a lot of remakes or sequels or prequels or just continuations of things in film. I feel like production companies or publishing houses like a sure thing, and so they will put money into something if it has proven itself already versus this kind of like dark horse brand new thing. I just wonder, like, are authors so tied to their world that they want to keep writing in it, which is valid, or are publishers kind of pushing them in that direction? Like, I love Stephanie Garber, for example, but her past, she's now written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6.5 in the same world, which like technically you could read them separately, but I personally think that you need all the information tied. Like, it's just, I don't know, even as the biggest Nikolai fan, the King of Scars duology by Leigh Bardugo was kind of like, what was that? You know, I loved it, don't get me wrong, but at the same time it kind of felt like, did we need that? You know, I'm on the fence with a lot of these kind of continuations. So I agree with this, and I'd love to talk about it more if you guys can think of any examples of like series worlds that are tired, I think is what I'm interested in hearing your thoughts about. And also like the complications of how do you start, like Brandon Sanderson, for example. Like, so many people don't start reading his books because they don't know where to start because everything's interconnected. And not to spoil anything, but if you want to spoil things, which I urge you to do rather than waste your time with thousands of pages, if you want to know what SJM is up to, I have a plot summary for you, and she's a big fan of connecting things. It's just like, it's starting to feel a little money grabby, and I don't love that. So yeah, first out the gate, I agree with your opinion. Great job. Speaking of SJM, I thought this one was so funny. I actually laughed out loud. Someone wrote that SJM's writing isn't as interesting as the fan theories. And so if you don't know my history, A Court of Thorns and Roses was probably like the second fantasy series I read after getting back into reading. I read Six of Crows and I was like, oh, I feel alive again. And so everybody recommended that I read A Court of Thorns and Roses. And you know what? As it being a first fantasy book, like welcoming me back into reading, whatever. I liked it. Had I been a avid reader of fantasy prior, like had I read that later in my reading experience, it wouldn't have hit me that hard. But you know what? Like, it is what it is. Okay, it's a part of my reading history. And so yeah, I've read that. And then for better or for worse, mainly for you guys, I read Crescent City. Because I could not believe what I had read. And I didn't want you guys to suffer. So, particularly in her most recent book, the final book in the Crescent City series, which apparently is going to be even longer, so it's not even the last one. It's the last one I'm touching, okay? The fan theories prior to that book, I was like, you know what, girls? Great job. Like, you guys are coming up with some really interesting things. This is amazing. You should write that book. Because when that book came out, you can watch it, you can watch the plot summary. So boring. Like, the fan theories were crazy. Like, people were doing insane mental math, and she just did not deliver. And like, I read that book already having gotten well off of the SJM train, but even people who still to this day are fans, crickets. Nobody wanted to talk about this book because it sucked. And yeah, I would say her fans, their ideas have far surpassed what SJM is willing or able to write. That's the only reason why I'm still like, I've got one toe in that fandom, just to see where this could go. Like, I just want to know what... And I know you guys want to know. So I'm willing to be the messenger for you so that we don't have to read or support these books. The fan theories are fun. The fan theories are fun. Okay, and we got a lot of these actually, and I feel like this is no longer an unpopular opinion, and I'm very happy about it. Someone wrote, is it still unpopular to scribble/write in books? I love to dog-ear pages. It makes the book feel more lived in. And yes, as someone who loves a good dog-eared page, I absolutely support marking up your books. It's yours, you know? One thing I really love is I don't have, they're all like in the US, but I have a lot of books from when I was in high school, and I would underline lines that just had an effect on me. And it's so much fun to just not even reread the book, literally just flip through my books and read only the lines that stood out. It's like a little time capsule, and it's wonderful. I actually had someone, I felt so honored. One of my subscribers, hi Robin, gave me a copy of a book that her friends have like given to each other. It's like Sisterhood of the Traveling Book. And they annotate using each with like a different color highlighter, so that then the next person that gets it, you can look back and see like, oh, this person connected with this and this person connected. And she gave it to me, so I was able to like mark it up too. And it was just really cool, honestly. And actually there's a booktube channel. Her name is Anise Lore, and she actually made a video about how and why she annotates. And she said she doesn't lend her books to friends because she finds that what and how she annotates is so personal to her that giving her friends an annotated book by her would be akin to giving them her diary. And so I think there's just something really personal and romantic about however you might use your book, you know, if it's even cracking a spine or dog-earing a page or marking something, you know. I'm personally a huge fan, and if I get a book from a used bookstore and it's underlined, that's the best. That's the best feeling in the world. So I support it. I feel like it's coming back. Books that are clearly lived in or like have been read. I think that's a trend that's coming back. The very pristine kind of sterile way of reading a book might be going on the wayside, and I'm a fan. And so like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, a lot of you guys just said you were tired of things. And so many of you agree, and I'm here with you. I need a romantasy break. People said it's oversaturated. Yeah, the plots are the same. We don't need, someone said we don't need any more shadow daddies. And someone also said that using the term shadow daddy is cringe. I was like, yes, it is. I don't think I've ever actually used the term shadow daddy until just now. And now I've said it 3 times. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's partially, for me, the kind of romantasy burnout is definitely like my fault. Like I could be reading other genres, and I do always feel better when I do. I try to mix. If you watch my monthly reading wrap-ups, I usually have like a pretty good mix of genres. But yeah, I just feel like it's quite oversaturated. I'm also just kind of bummed with the quality. Like, it would be one thing if there were a lot of romantasies coming out and they were all amazing, but it's not the case. It's feeling so formulaic, and that's fine. But it's just kind of a bummer that it almost makes it difficult to find what you do want, like something that's a little different. I think like with AO3, I've never used it, but I got a very in-depth explanation of how it works by a friend once. And you can like add and block certain tropes or whatever. And so on AO3, when you're looking at fan fiction, you can be like, yeah, I'm done with that. Like, just exclude that from the conversation, please. And you would find things that you want. But kind of in the general book sphere, it's a little difficult to do that. And so I just end up, I feel like even if the premise seems new and different, it always ends up the same. So yeah, and because I still love a kind of fantastical world, I recently have been getting more into sci-fi. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. Okay, this one I found interesting, and I think that this one has a little nuance to it. The opinion is, you shouldn't read others' reviews on a book before reading the book. And here's my take. My style of reading is, as you guys know, I go into things without knowing anything, pretty much. I also do that partially because it's my style. I prefer to know as little as possible going into a book. But also I know that I'm going to be reviewing this book for you guys. So I don't want to kind of have any biases going in. I don't even watch like my friends. I specifically avoid watching booktubers, any kind of reviews and things like that until until I have formed my own opinion. So I think that like that's, in my case, yeah, I would agree. Like, I don't feel good looking at the reviews for both of those reasons. But I do think if you're the kind of reader that you don't have a lot of time and you want to know out of all of these millions of books you could possibly read, what is worth your time? What are you going to buy? What are you going to get from the library? What are you going to get in that holds list for, you know, put on your birthday wish list, whatever. Yeah, I don't see a problem with checking reviews before you read a book. Again, if you're like me and you want to go in blind, that's fine. But I think some people, whether it's for trigger warnings, whether it's for like, is it worth my time and money? I do think there's value in seeing a review first. So I don't know. I don't think that one's cut and dry. But yeah. Okay, this one, I'm getting ahead of myself. I did get a lot of opinions about smut in books, and as you know, I'm like not the biggest fan, but I don't care if other people read it. So the opinions were kind of all over the place in terms of like people are being prudes about it, people are damaging their reading ability. I don't know. That one, I'm of the mindset of like, read what you're gonna read. We're all on a reading journey as well. I feel like some people start off reading certain things and then they find their way to other things. So I don't think discouraging reading in any way is the best thing to do, but yeah, I'm personally not a smut girl. And someone wrote, smut is low-key boring. And I agree. I feel like the world is shifting, the tables are turning, because we want yearning back. I've seen so many people asking for books that just have the yearn. I'm so with you. I'm the kind of like, first kiss is the best. It can be at the last page and I'd be happy. Once everything is over, kind of like with I didn't read the books, but like with Bridgerton, for example, I was kind of done with it by episode, like the first season. When did they get married? Like episode 2. I was sort of like, okay, well, I'm bored. Give me just the accidental handhold, the longing looks. Yeah. Tagging on to the shadow daddy is cringe and tired. People want golden retriever boyfriends back. And yeah, I've been saying it. I've been missing nice, goofy guys. Give me a goofball. That's what I want. Thank you. I think we're seeing more of them now, actually. Keep it coming. I love golden retriever love interest so much. This one I thought was so funny. Books with the prettiest covers tend to have the weakest plot. Someone also wrote, this was another opinion that was basically like, we have to stop saying that we don't judge books by their covers because we absolutely do. And yeah, I mean, that's why there's entire departments of the publishing industry devoted to creating the artwork for a book. Covers, titles, they matter. So yeah, it is funny how you can get kind of tricked. I mean, it hurts my heart to say this once again, to bring it up, but Courting of Bristol Keats. Granted, the beautiful cover was just a bonus for me. I picked it up because I love the author, but I know a lot of people who got like the special edition or whatever because it was such a beautiful book. Hope you guys liked it. Okay, this one, you are wrong. You are wrong. This is an incorrect opinion. The opinion is owning hundreds of physical books is pointless unless it is your job. Wrong. Look at right now with book banning going on, okay? You are not going to be able to get your hands on certain books. Look at how Kindle has been subtly changing your ability to own the books that you own, right? Making all of these changes with your ebooks. Also, just in terms of editing, we've seen this where publishers have been able to edit an ebook and it changes immediately for everybody who has that ebook, right? That's all well and good if it's like a spelling mistake, but what if people start changing history books? That's already happened, but like if they just go in and change that. Having a physical copy of something is so important. Now, it might like owning the same copy, like a million special editions, you're not going to save the world with that. I understand, but there is something still very like essential and important about physical media and having it. And just so people can't take it away and people can't deny its existence sometime in the future. So I absolutely believe that you should have physical books if you want them. Like, there's nothing wrong or pointless. There's a lot of points to owning physical books. That's why libraries exist. Sorry to say. Incorrect opinion. Incorrect opinion. But one opinion that I do agree with, actually, Check and Mate is Ali Hazelwood's best book. You know, I think that people have their issues with it because, for example, the little sisters, anyway, the children in this book talk like they're middle-aged women. That is something inherently Ali Hazelwood, is that there's going to be some unbelievable piece of the puzzle that is her book. But I really like Check and Mate. I actually have only read it once because I read it, I loved it, and then I handed it off to a friend. So again, having physical media, keeping it, it's important because I want to read it again. But yeah, Check and Mate is her first and only young adult book following two kind of chess geniuses, and it was great. It was laugh out loud funny. It gave me butterflies, yearning. I would say, like, that's the Ali Hazelwood book. I feel like I have no notes. Like, all of her other ones, I love her, but you know, I have to kind of turn a blind eye to many things. Check and Mate, I was sort of like, okay, your preteen sisters talk like they are 60-year-old women, but that's okay. In my book, that's okay. Yeah, Check and Mate, love it. This one, holy cow, I could not possibly count how many of you guys said this. All of you hate sprayed edges. You are so done with the sprayed edges. They are ugly, overdone, usually not done well. You also are not fans of special editions. It's too much. It's too much. Someone else wrote, and this one made me laugh out loud. Someone said, deckled edges, which are the like ones that are, I don't even think I have one. They're kind of like cut like this. They're not straight. They're kind of like almost like fingertips. Okay. And this person wrote, deckled edges are a terror. I can't flip through the pages with childlike glee. And it's so true. It's so difficult to turn a page. I hate deckled edges. Yeah. So I'm with you. There are some sprayed edges that are great. Even like this isn't the same. This is just how a lot of paperbacks used to be. This one's from like the 80s. So I don't mind. Sometimes I don't mind, but sometimes they go a little overboard. So I'm with you. Here's one that is kind of timely for me. And it is, a lot of people are oversensitive if you don't like their fave book. And yeah, I will say, so as someone who reviews books online, if I have an unpopular opinion about a book, if I don't like a popular book, basically, usually it's fine if it has a more adult fandom. Don't come for me, please. But I do find that when books have a younger fan base and I don't like it, I am told that I am just wrong, and that I didn't get it. There's another opinion coming up soon, but the idea that if I didn't like a book, it's because I didn't get the message. And it's like, you can still get the message and just not like it. Like, that's okay, right? But yeah, I feel like as a reviewer, I get the most icky comments when I am not enjoying a book that younger people really like. I think it's Dylan Joseph writes. He, like, kind of back to back had 3 unpopular opinions with very young, very passionate fandoms. And he had to make a video basically being like, get off my back, because the comments he was getting were just unhinged. And there were quite a few opinions also along these lines of like, the book community is quite toxic. And yeah, I just really feel like certain fandoms don't understand that not liking the same book as you doesn't mean that I don't like you as a person. Like, we're assigning a lot of our self-worth and who we are to what we read, and that's unhealthy. And yeah, so yeah, I do agree that there's a bit of oversensitivity in the community. So speaking of young, this is one that I think is nuanced, and I don't, at this time of day, It is Sunday, 5 o'clock. I'm tired. I had a really rough work week last week. This is me my brain is slowly turning to mush. So I'm not in the headspace to have this conversation right now. But this opinion, I'm sort of like about. The opinion is young adult should only be for young adult. And no, but also, how do I explain? For example, okay, currently, everybody is reading Sunrise on the Reaping. People who have grown up with the Hunger Games are now 30. Am I not allowed to read Sunrise on the Reaping? Was I not allowed to read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? Also, I mean, I've taken college courses where we are reading children's books. I've taken college courses where we are reading young adult books. There's so much value in young adult, and so being able to analyze it, return to it when you have like lived life and you're going back and you're like, wow, that was captured. I didn't get it when I was young because I hadn't lived enough to fully understand. Like, I guess I kind of understand the judgment. Like, you're allowed to judge if older people are only reading YA, but also, like, as someone who was raised by a middle school librarian, my mom read a lot of YA to know what to put in her library, you know, like, to know what the kids are reading these days, like, to be able to connect with people. I think that it's a silly take, but again, my brain is mush. If you have any more succinct arguments for that, young adult is only for young adult, let me know. Thank you. This one I feel to my core, especially last year. I would rather wait 5 years for the next installment than to get a rushed book once a year. And yeah, I am so down. I think even though I'm not the biggest fan of her work, Erin Morgenstern popping out a book every decade, good for her. I have a couple author friends and they are constantly writing like 3 books at once. Or they're in like different stages, like maybe they're drafting and then they're doing like final edits and then they're like authors are no longer just like working on something and handing it in and taking a damn break. Like that's not how it goes anymore. And I am kind of feeling it when I'm reading books that feel a little rushed. I'm happy to have a deadline be pushed back. Tamsin. As long as I read a lecto before I die, take your time. Take your time. I would rather you do it right, you know? Very quickly, we had 2 people that said the pregnancy trope can be cute if it's done right. And, well, happy for you. It's just not my trope. It's just not my trope. This one I agree with so much, which is negative reviews are usually more honest and in-depth than the good ones. And I think that this isn't a dig at people who write a book review that's just like, I really liked it. Because as someone who reviews books, and I do look back at my reviews, my videos, whatever, it's harder to articulate why a book is good. For example, I have a live reading reaction to it, but I just finished reading Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake, and I really liked it. I am struggling to put into words why I really liked it. Like across the board, I shouldn't have, like in terms of the writing style, the characters, the just general premise and storyline, it shouldn't have been my cup of tea, but I really liked it. And I struggle to find the words, but for books that I don't like, I'm able to pinpoint exactly what was wrong. And I do really notice that on Goodreads, like if you see the 5-star reviews, 5 or 4-star reviews are pretty short usually, and then you get to like the 2 and the 1-star reviews and they are novel length. So yeah, I think it's partially just because it's easier to point out what's bad. And also sometimes when things are good, I don't want to spoil anything and I'm like, just read it, it's good. So yeah, this one, okay, community building effort, gather ye round. We need to help this girl. Okay, we need to figure out how to make this not true for her anymore. She says, I hate touching physical library books. I just can't help viewing them as gross. So, tips, bring wet wipes. I don't know. If you put your book in a freezer, I did that for the first time ever. I got a used book that smelled atrocious. And I put it in the freezer. Wonderful. Brand new book. Great. No smell. So if you have any tips for if you find that maybe used books or library books are somehow dirty, help a girl out. Give your tips down below, because use that physical library, girl. Please. Okay, T. Here we go. I got so many comments. Like, this was probably behind the just general I'm tired and I fucking hate sprayed edges comments. The next most popular opinion was Onyx Storm sucked. And I only read Fourth Wing and then never continued because, you know. This person said that Onyx Storm was the biggest sellout. It was 700 words just to make a 5-book series instead of a trilogy. And let me tell you, let me stop this. Hold on. I was running out of tape. Okay. Fourth Wing, that publishing company, if you're like, oh my God, it's a sellout, blah, blah, blah. The entire Fourth Wing series is a sellout. That publishing company did all the work to find out what the trends are. Okay, Rebecca Yarros, prior to this, was just a romance writer, right? This publishing company did the work, crunched the data, and found out exactly what was going to be the most popular combination of items in a book. Then they shopped around for authors. This entire craze of Fourth Wing is just marketing at its finest. They did the work and they knew what would sell. They knew what would get people, and they did it. So from day one, Fourth Wing was not about a story that she was so excited to tell or like a world she was so excited to build. It's like a boy band that some company threw together because they knew that we needed like the hot one, the quiet one, the funny one, and then girls would just eat it up, you know? It is manufactured. Allegedly, but not allegedly. This one, oh my gosh. So again, with the whole being fucking tired of things, this person said the only one bed trope and others aren't good anymore because they feel so fake. That's why I believe this was in the Throne in the Dark. I'm almost positive. If I'm making a mistake, the book series is still hilarious, so you should read it, but I'm pretty sure Throne in the Dark is a really funny take on enemies to lovers and like the villain backstory. I don't want to get too much into it, but if you're looking for just a funny kind of new take on romantasy, this one is just so self-aware. The particular scene I'm thinking of actually is from The Love Hypothesis, when they have to go to a hotel. They're checking into the hotel and she's like, oh my God, there's only going to be one bed. And the guy is like, I booked 2 king-size beds. It says it right here, like we're going to have 2 beds. And she's like, no, you don't understand. She's like, I know how this goes. I think it's funny now when books are at least aware of how overdone tropes are. There were 2 beds, by the way, just so you know. For books that do it kind of unironically, it just feels like it takes me out of the story because I'm like, oh, you checked a box, or like she's holding a knife to his neck kind of thing. I'm like, ugh, you know. So I also agree. They're starting to feel very unnatural, which is a bummer. This one, okay. I feel like this isn't an unpopular opinion at all, but maybe I'm just in the wrong spheres, or the right sphere. We need less real person adaptations of fantasy and more animation. Yes, I'm not even really an animation girl. I was never into anime. I wasn't into TV in general, but I recently watched Arcane. Give us more of that. Like, I understand the amount of work that went into that series, but give us more of that. I almost feel like it's better. Like, for fantasy, when I see it happening with real people, for some reason it feels really hokey. I'm like watching a actual human being get on a CGI dragon. I'm sort of like, ugh. But if the whole thing were animated, wonderful, you know? So yeah, I'm for that. I'm absolutely for that. And then real quickly, this is what I referenced earlier. Someone said, it's okay to say some weird girl litfic books are bad. I can get the message and still not like the book. And yes, famously, I was told, I don't even want to go into it, but one of my first book reviews, I didn't enjoy The Bell Jar. And the weird ass comments that I got about that were just nasty are insane. And you can still get the messages and still be like, I didn't like the book. Okay? Okay. This is so funny because literally next to each other, they were exact opposite opinions, and I'd love to hear what side you're on. Books with pure vibe, but not much plot, need to be promoted more. Sometimes we just need to feel. And someone else said, get rid of the books that are only vibes. Yeah, as a person who is I love a book with, I just need a good plot. I will say, I recently read Hazelthorn that was 100% about the vibes. Like, it did have a story, but what made it great was the descriptive writing. So I'm on both sides now. I'm on both sides of the argument. I love a good, just vibey vibe, and I love a good plot. So, on which side do you fall? Let me know. And this opinion came to me at the right time. I needed to hear it. Whoever left this comment, thank you. You helped me as I was feeling a little panicky. And this opinion is, reading a book on release day is overrated. And yes, I'm drowning in library books right now. I have so many books that came in at the same time because that's how it works. So I have a lot of books that I need to get to before I can read Holy Terrors. The series is called Little Thieves. It's by Margaret Owens. Little Thieves, laugh out loud funny. Like, so just so good. And I have been waiting for Holy Terrors. I specifically didn't read the second book until the third book came out so that I could read the series, you know? And I have been like aching because I couldn't read. Holy Terrors has been out for 3 days and I haven't read it, and I'm kind of in a panic. And it's okay. It's okay to let it sit on your shelf a little bit. Because I also find that when I do read books on release day, I'm so excited about them that I end up reading too fast because I just want to inhale the story. And so I talked about it in a previous video, but like, for example, Bloodmarked, the sequel to Legendborn, I didn't love it as much because I read it too fast. And then when I did a reread last month, I was like, oh no, this was a perfect book. It was my fault. So yeah, take your time. Take your time. I understand wanting to avoid spoilers though. That's a big one. But yeah, just read it when you can, you know? A lot of you guys also don't like first person. It's not my favorite either, I would say. People also felt that this was a safe place to call Emily Henry basic or not good. I had a lot of comments. I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't have anything to say. And then kind of tying into what we have previously discussed, which is enjoying fantasy is getting harder now that the marketing is trope first always. And yeah, I used to kind of appreciate that because I do really love certain tropes, but now it's almost like if you don't follow certain tropes, your book isn't gonna get any traction. So a lot of times people will just lie. Like the book will be, I don't know, enemies to lovers, and they were never enemies, you know? So yeah, it is, I feel like the tropification has been kind of a bummer. But sometimes that is enough to get me to pick up a book, you know? Like sometimes it still works on me. So I don't know. And then, all right, I've already made myself seem like a millennial. Again, I'm gonna sound old. The rest of the comments were literally just like, this book, blank, is the worst book I've ever read. And here's the thing, guys. What do you mean? I just wish people would say what they actually mean, because do you genuinely believe, for example, The Cruel Prince is the worst book you've ever read in your life? Or are you just being hyperbolic? So yeah, I had so many people reply for my unpopular opinions prompt saying that, you know, XYZ was the worst book they've ever read in the world. And my battery is dying. Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm back. So if you're brave, in the comment section, let me know what really is the worst book you've ever read in your life, because I sincerely want to know, and I can't tell. I love that people are starting to use like the /gen for genuine or like /j for joke. Like, thank you for the translation, because sometimes I'm lost and I just don't know what you mean. I don't know. So yeah, a lot of you guys had some books that you thought were the worst books in the world, and I was sort of like, I could think of a couple more. I could think of some pretty horrific pieces of literature if you would like to be pointed in that direction. So yeah, my interest was piqued. What do you mean? Those were some of your opinions. I'm taking my dead battery as a sign that maybe I should wrap this up. I would love to hear your take on owning physical books. Is YA only for YA? And what is your least favorite book in the world? If you could pinpoint it, I'm interested. So also, yeah, let's get over this fear of touching physical library books. Let's work on that together, because we're supporting libraries in every way we can. So thank you so much for being here. I am currently reading some really good books. As I said, I just finished Gifted and Talented, which I have a video review coming. I am reading an arc called Starving Saints, which is really weird. I also have the arc of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I almost started reading it today, but I was like, no, I'm not mentally ready for that. So yeah, we've got a great reading month ahead of us. Spring has started. It also means that it's going to be raining. This in Seoul, I swear to God, the second the cherry blossoms bloom, it rains and then they all go away. So yeah, this week it's gonna be rainy. I'm gonna be curled up with a book, and I'm going to be telling you all my thoughts. So yeah, thank you as always for being here, sticking around, and I will catch you guys next time. So thank you as always to MasterClass. I will have a QR code and a link down below. You can get 15% off of your membership, which is usually $10 per month, billed annually. N.K. Jemisin is waiting for you to teach you world building. Isn't that incredible? Thank you to you for sitting here and watching. Thank you for submitting your opinions, even if I disagree with them. Thank you for listening to my mushy brain on a Sunday evening. And I promise to be more alert for my next video. So, you guys have, I was just rewatching a video trying to figure out what was I doing in winter of last year? And I had posted a video in which I started the video by taking cold medicine. And by the end of the video, I was delirious. So I feel like if you've lived through that, if you were able to watch that video, you can watch me in any state. So thank you for the real ones who know what video I'm talking about. And I'll see you later, okay? Thank you as always.